Wealth After 50 presents Our House Changed Everything at 55. I'd like to share a story I read, how a couple downsized their lives and cut back on spending. How moving into a small house ended up freeing them from financial stress and emotional baggage they didn't even realize they had. They didn't just get rid of square footage, they boosted their net worth and their options for the future. For 23 years, Lisa and her husband Mark had lived in the same split-level house. It had a squeaky third step and a yard that took up all their Saturdays and a good chunk of their retirement savings to maintain. Their kids' heights were still penciled on the pantry door, even though both of them had their own houses now. The house was full of memories, but it was also draining their bank account. Boxes of their kids' old art projects, Mark's guitar that he never played, and a treadmill that was basically a coat rack. It felt like they were living in a museum of their own past, but they couldn't afford the upkeep anymore. Mark's knees hurt every time he went up the stairs. Lisa was up at 2 a.m., Googling ways to deal with back pain, and every time the property tax bill arrived, it felt like a punishment. One day, driving home from the doctor's office, the familiar neighborhood streets felt different. All Lisa could see was the money they had tied up in their house. Mark squeezed her hand, and Lisa just blurted out, "What if we just sell?" That night, they opened a nice bottle of wine they'd been saving for a special occasion and admitted to each other that maybe the special occasion was cashing out and starting over. On the back of an envelope, they wrote down 3 goals: smaller, safer, solvent. If a new house could give them those 3 things, they were willing to risk it. Selling the house was surprisingly emotional, like saying goodbye to an old friend. They spent their weekends going through everything they owned, asking themselves, is this really worth the space and the money it costs to keep it? A lot of the time, the answer was no. The hardest part wasn't getting rid of the stuff, but letting go of the identities attached to it. Lisa cried over a cracked bowl they'd gotten on their honeymoon, and then laughed when Mark said, "Honey, the bowl is broken. Our finances don't have to be." It took 8 weeks, 4 yard sales, and a realtor who kept asking if they were sure about making such a big financial change, but in the end, they were completely sure. They used the money from the sale to buy a small corner lot and build a 1-level, 1,200-square-foot home. When the builder asked about bedrooms, they said, "1 for us, 1 for when the grandkids visit, and a 3rd so we have a home office." They designed it to be practical for the long term, with wide doorways, a walk-in shower with a seat, and soft close drawers. When friends asked if they were aging in place, they'd just say they were cashing in their equity. Every decision was about building a more secure future. Move-in day was hectic. But that night, after the last box was moved, Lisa noticed how quiet it was. It was a new kind of quiet, one that didn't come with a mortgage payment. The walls were bare. There was no lawn to mow, no stairs to climb, and no constant worry about the next expensive repair. They made a toast with plastic cups because all their real glasses were packed away. Lisa said it was the best glass of wine she'd ever had because it felt like freedom. 3 months later, Lisa was waking up naturally, without an alarm. Her morning walk was just a short trip to the mailbox and back, and Lisa could actually hear the birds. They started cooking together more because the new counters were at a more comfortable height. They have less space, but their life feels much fuller. Lisa realized the biggest change wasn't the house, but her mindset. She used to think downsizing was a step back, a kind of failure. Now she just thinks of it as editing your life, cutting out the parts that don't work and focusing on what's important. They traded the equity in their home for actual cash and, more importantly, time. They had time to read, to take a nap without feeling guilty, and to call a friend just because they felt like it. Lisa started saying, "Let's find out," instead of, "We can't afford that." The smaller house didn't make their life smaller, it just helped them focus on what wealth really means to them. Lisa used to think that 55 was the age when you were supposed to be winding down. But this whole experience taught her that you can still make big changes that lead to a better future. They didn't just build a smaller house, they built a bigger, more secure life for themselves. For anyone listening who feels stuck in their situation, just remember that you have the power to change it. And remember, it's never too late to grow your wealth after 50.